Almost been a couple of weeks now since restaurants opened their doors, and that's for sit-down meals. The eateries were closed from the beginning of lockdown in March. Slindelo Masikane is out and about trying to see if people are actually going to the restaurants and making use of them. Slee, I think I can hear you a little bit better now. I was asking you, are people brave enough now to go out and about and actually go into restaurants for sit-down meals?
Well, Tony, we have been up and about in and around Johannesburg at those popular restaurant areas such as Rosebank, Parkhurst, Parktown, and now, in fact, we're in Malville. And what we've noticed is that it's only really the coffee shops, or should I say the bakeries as well, that are open at around this time of the morning. And it does seem as though restaurant goers or customers in particular are still kind of warming up to the idea of going out to actually sit down and eat. But I am joined by the owner, rather, of the coffee shop here in Malville, Mr. Maurits Klutter. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Just give us a sense of how the reopening of the restaurants have been. How has business been? Is it picking up, or are you finding that customers are still a bit wary?
In general, we find that most of the people are wary. There's been a slight pickup in business, especially last weekend. But yeah, I can't see, especially during the week, there isn't a significant difference. I think people are still holding back on coming out, keeping social distancing in mind, yeah.
How are the regulations in particular affecting business, if at all?
Well, the thing is, last Saturday we could see that we are running at 50% capacity for sit-down. And so obviously that does affect, because when it gets busy you have to, tell people we're full, which is a good thing, but, at the end of the day, it also affects business. But during the week it's very, very quiet. Yeah, still, yeah.
I mean, I can see this morning as well, probably the weather has something to do with it as well. But we are seeing the resumption of load shedding. How do you think this is going to affect your business as well?
If we don't have enough on our plate, I mean, that is a bit of a worry. So, it's not good. Not good news to hear that we're back on.
What would you say to customers that are still a bit wary of coming in to sit down and eat?
Well, the thing is, we've got all the protocols in place. We make sure that every morning we sanitize the whole place, as well as when people enter, and there's enough PPE for people to feel safe. And I think it's up to all of us to also protect ourselves and look after ourselves. But we as restaurants, we've got a responsibility to make sure that all the checks are in place.
Do you think the restaurant business will be able to survive these regulations and the fear, I think, of customers having to come out?
Well, I can only speak for ourselves. We're relatively new. But, yeah, I don't know. We just take it month from month and, try and keep the doors open. There's not a lot of profit to be made, but, I think if we can ride it out, something good could come from it. But, it's not looking great at the moment.
Yeah. And lastly, I think there's been a lot of fear that's been instilled in terms of the reports that were coming out during the week around 1 million graves. Do you think that's had something to do with it as well?
I mean, that's fear-mongering, and I just think that's, it exacerbates the whole, situation. I think people live in fear already, and having had that, thrown into the measure, it's not good.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure indeed.
Now, Tony, I think I have a familiar face for you to see, actually. Somebody actually just bumped into right now, a customer and a resident of Malville who actually came to get some coffee. Mr. Graham Rubenheimer, how are you this morning?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. I see you out to get some coffee this morning.
Yeah, I don't usually drink coffee, but, on a weekend you've got to get like a quick cup of coffee and just to liven things up.
Yeah.
And, restaurants are struggling at the moment. I think if you can support restaurants when they're up the road, they're not doing as well as they are right now, go and support where you can. Everybody in South Africa just kind of has to band together at this point, right?
Yeah, right.
And I look terrible. Wow. So you're getting me at like the worst time ever.
Well, have a good day, Graham. Have a good day. All right. So that is Graham Rubenheimer. He lives there in Melbourne and actually just stepped in to get some coffee. And as you've heard from Mr. Klutter, it looks like it's going to be tough times ahead. And they're really just taking it month by month. With the resumption of load shedding, it certainly doesn't look as though it's looking good for the restaurant business. But restaurant owners are just trying to stay positive and trying to show their customers that they are following regulations, that there are protocols in place, and that it is safe to come and sit out and eat.
All right, yes, it's a bit of a struggle. Double whammy as well when you look at the power cuts and then you've got the pandemic at the same time. Slindile, thank you so much for that report. Now, the battle against